You can have your version of what this client described. It doesn't just happen with engines. It doesn't just happen with finances. It happens with any desire you might have. All you have to do is soothe the resistance that has you blocking what the universe is doing for you 24/7, which is giving you everything you want. Welcome to Worthiness Wednesdays. I'm Perry Gruber, the Enlightenment Guy. For over a decade, I've helped my clients master their mindsets so they can live lives they love and get results without the burnout or the hustle. And everything I do with my clients is based on the Positively Focused framework. I also call it the Positively Focused practice. It's a collection of practices that I've put together into a package that allows people to realize enlightenment. Enlightenment is none other than realizing you are an eternal being, not a human being. You're an eternal being here having a human experience, and that your eternity, the eternal nature that is you, is based on the fundamental spiritual principles underlying how physical reality works. And when you learn to master those fundamental principles, your life unfolds effortlessly, with everything you're wanting happening without you having to take any action to have those things happen, other than locating yourself in the time and space coordinates where the mystical, magical, it's not magic, wonderful unfolding reveals itself to you. This is why people describe enlightenment as bliss, because when you step into this clear state of clarity, realize that the universe is bending over backwards to give you everything you want, you cannot help but feel worthy. Worthiness is what naturally occurs when you realize the universe is giving you everything you want without you having to do anything to get it. And in you getting it, you contribute to the expansion of all that is, and the expansion of your own eternal life experience. So let's get on with this episode. In this episode, I want to talk about a testimony a client gave at a session. All of these videos, these Worthiness Wednesday videos, come from sessions I have with clients. But in this particular one, this client demonstrates to himself an important aspect of the Positively Focused framework, which is if you're willing to let go of how it is what you want comes into your life experience, you find yourself delighted by the unfolding. In this testimony I'm going to share, the client doesn't sound very excited about how it unfolded, but that's only because he's built for himself, he's collected for himself a basket of evidence showing that this is how life can be. And so he describes what you're about to hear in very non-emotional terms. That's only because he's had so much experience now with manifesting that this is just an of course for him. So the two things I want you to listen for as I share this clip and how this magical, it's not magic, unfolding occurred, the two things I want you to pay attention to are how this happened, and how the client relaxed into his current what is in order to allow what happened to happen. In other words, he soothed resistance around his finances, and as a result of that, the universe delivered to him something he wanted that would have costed him twice as much as what he had to end up paying. So for some background, this client races motorcycles on the weekends, and last year in the summer, he crashed on the course and broke his wrist. He didn't realize it at the time, but he also damaged the engine of his motorcycle such that the engine doesn't perform as well as it does now, as well as it did before the crash. And so he had resolved to not racing this year because of some financial situations he and his wife are facing relative to some personal issues. issues, interestingly enough, I will be sharing in a future Worthiness Wednesday episode because the wife had a phenomenal experience around those issues. Anyway, in this episode, I want to share this clip where this client describes what happened around the engine that got damaged in the accident and what happened when the client soothed his resistance to both his financial situation and his desire to race again. Let's take a listen.
So, where would you like to start today?
I
What's
think
your
I'll
focus?
start there.
Oh, great. Let's
So
do it.
motorcycling. I've been feeling, you know, some feelings about finances and everything like that, about the motorcycle and about our current situation and stuff. And so I haven't had resistance to not motorcycling, if that makes sense.
Another resistance to not. Okay, great. Understood. Yes.
So I was just like, okay, well then, I won't participate this year in racing. And because my motorcycle needs a new engine, it doesn't run properly. I think the
Um,
wreck had something to do with the engine.
um,
It's not holding
yeah.
compression very well.
Mm.
So maybe it was that. Maybe it was because before the crash, it was running well. So I
Mm.
think something happened.
Mm.
Um, so my friend is like, hey, if you just get a new engine, swap an engine, I think, that would be good for this year. And blah, blah, blah. It's like $1,400.
Mm.
So I was like, 1,400. And then that was right when Abe was talking about the money situation. And so I was just like feeling like, okay, well, I'm okay with it. I was looking forward to it, but it's okay. Maybe I can just do a track day. I'm not pushing as hard on track days. I'll just do a couple track days with the people, and then I won't be spending as much money on because it's not just the $1,400 for the engine. It's
Right.
the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
But oh, sorry. So I was just like, okay, I found not a way to get okay with this. I was okay with this. Like once I said it out loud, I was like, okay, it doesn't feel like it would have been the past where I would have had a really big amount of resistance to it. And it's just been like, I guess I'll just fucking not do what I want to do.
Mhm.
Do all of these, whatever.
Yes.
Hey, I guess it's okay. And so my friend been kept, he has kept working in the pursuit of me, like trying to get on the track.
Mm.
He's, um, he really wants me to go, not because he needs me to be there, but he wants to enjoy the time with me. I think he likes spending the time together, and so do I, with him. And so, I'm just telling him like, yeah, right now I can't do that, that much. So, it's okay. I can come down and I can do a couple track days or whatever, and still cheer you guys on and stuff and watch the races because I enjoy doing that. I enjoy watching you guys and rooting for you guys in the stands and stuff. And so he's just like, yeah, I get it, And so every time we get off the phone, he's called me, a few times through. So I think he was when we first started talking about this, it was kind of like early January, and he's just like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you can't, you can't. And then he'll text me or call me, hey, so have you made any decisions? Have you thought like, well, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen this year. It's not going to work. Um, and so he's like, well, I found this thing. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's really a feasible option. It doesn't sound like it would be something that I want to risk, something on because the motors was like from a crashed motorcycle pretty
Mm.
badly. It was from an auction too. And
Mm.
so it was like, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to put the effort into that. Well, I found this. And then it was like, it's okay. I appreciate you doing all this, but
He really wants to.
I've made peace with this, I feel
Mm.
good about it. And so we went up to Seattle this last weekend. that's another part of what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Not having to do with anything there, but
Gotcha.
anyway. So we're up in Seattle, and I get a call from him, and I'm just like, oh, not like, oh great, what's this going to be, but like, okay, I know what he's going to talk about, and I just answer. I'm like, hey bud, and he's just like, hey, so there's this guy, he's selling this motorcycle. It's the same, engine. Um, but so that is like $4,500 he wants for this motorcycle. But he has a spare engine that he took off of the bike. And then he had a video of it running, and I reached out to him, and he said, yes, it did run. I took it out of the motorcycle after it ran, and I was just going to include it in the purchase of the motorcycle.
Hmm.
And so he's just like, so I said, hey, so this is to the guy, my friend talking to the guy. So I told him, hey, I'm just trying to get my friend on track this year. He's, he had a crash last year. This is what's going on with his engine. Would you be willing to take $500 for this engine? And the guy's just like, hey man, I totally get that. I totally get it, wanting people to ride. And he's like, yeah, that's something that I could do. So,
Wow.
so now I think we're going to have a plan for Wednesday to go get this engine, $500. And my friend is going to help me do all the work to put the engine in. So he's like, yeah, if we can get this engine, I'll start taking the engine out, the one that's there, and then we can put it in together. And so, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel really good about it. I feel not indebted, but I feel really appreciative towards him.
Now, the cool thing, isn't this wonderful what happened? Notice how nonchalant the client is describing it. It's like, of course it happened this way because this is how the practice works. But one of the things I want you to notice in how he told this story is his friend, the guy who worked with the other guy who had the engine, took it upon himself to take all the action necessary to have my client be able to participate in racing this season. Why did this person do this? It was because he was also getting what he wanted. He wants my client to participate in the race season because he gets satisfaction from having my client there. So this person was acting on his own selfish interests in order to get what he wanted, and as a result of that, connected with a guy who was acting in his selfish interests, wanting to realize some income from selling this extra engine. And together they worked together at a spiritual level where they both recognized the satisfaction gained from racing on race courses, and as a result of that, the second guy was willing to sell the engine for less than half of what he originally wanted to sell it for. And in the cooperation of all of that, my client got a new engine for his motorcycle. This is how the universe is working for all of us. And when we soothe the resistance like this client did around finances, when we soothe our resistance around subjects that we have resistance about, and that resistance typically shows up as complaining or negative emotion, when we soothe those states of being, then we come into harmony with the universe, allowing all of the cooperative components that need to come together in order for us to have what it is we've set our desire on. Our job in living our lives is to move through the contrast presented in our life experience, identify what we don't want, and as a result of that, also know what we do want. And the minute we do that, and then allow the universe to take what we've identified that we want and coordinate the cooperative components to allow that to pop into our life experience, that is what will happen. Our job is not the how, nor is it the when. When is it going to happen? Not our job. How is it going to happen? Not our job. Our job is to hold the knowing that it's happening and then watch as it happens, just like this client did. You can have your version of what this client described. It doesn't just happen with engines. It doesn't just happen with finances. It happens with any desire you might have. All you have to do is soothe the resistance that has you blocking what the universe is doing for you 24/7, which is giving you everything you want. Want to learn how to do it more? Subscribe to this channel, or if you want, become a client. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.